How's it going, guys? Doc here. Doing this in one take because the event just went up a little while ago. Figured I'd get this advice out to you while it's still fresh, while y'all are trying to race to Mr. Dominguez. First off, let's take a look at him. So you got to get 25 wins. It's not that bad considering the fact that this looks almost like a switch hitting version of Byron Buxton's Player of the Month card, especially once you start getting him into the parallel levels. Parallel 5, you got 99 speed, 97 arm, 93 fielding, 99 reaction, 93 accuracy, and contact and power V-right both over 100. I was saying you do a lot worse. You can do a lot worse than this card. Plus, like I said, 25 ain't that bad for 3-inning games. However, it is at Polo Grounds. It has a little bit of weird lineup requirements. So, okay, let's look at this right here. So, gold and gold and silver pitchers only. So, that kind of limits your options. You're going to want to look for guys that either throw really hard or have over 100 hit per 9. Obviously, got inside edge is something you're really going to want to pay attention to. Guys like Lucas Giolito playing up 10 today. Like, this is one where you're going to see vastly different rotations day in, day out. Like, I've seen a lot of Musgroves today for some reason, even though he doesn't have an inside edge. A lot of Danny Duffys, because got to keep in mind, too, you're going to see a lot of, we'll get back to this in a sec, but you're going to see a lot of Chipper in this event. So just as a heads up, if you don't have Chipper, you're going to see a lot of Chipper. If you have Chipper and you haven't gotten to level 5 yet, well, you could do a lot worse than working on it right now. Okay. And for bullpen, you're going to see a lot of Diekman. Like, a lot. Like, I think half the games I've played so far in my first run had Diekman either starting or coming in the second inning. Karinchak is the closer, it looks like, today. Out of the 8 games I've played, 1 didn't have him. I mean, I can't really blame him. He's got 117 hit per 9, 2 different curveballs. He's got that Bert Blyleven loadout, which a lot of people like. Giovanni was pretty good too. I used him. DIBBLE is probably the other most common pitcher that you're going to see for this. If you've got access to this DIBBLE, run him. He good hit per 9. He throws ludicrously hard. He has the same exact pitch loadout as his high diamond card. So from there, it kind of becomes personal preference with a lot of it. Personally, I was running Silver Sail in that last run that I was doing instead of Matt Barnes. You do want some lefties in here, and we'll look at the position players here in a minute. That'll make more sense. The default loadout it gives you is straight righties, and that's going to trap a lot of people who don't look at that and make any changes to it. Out of the defaults here, I would say you probably cut Diaz. Like, I like Diaz, former Mariner, Homer Pride on that, but, you know. Catcher options. You've got Mr. Wieters, which is my personal pick, but I understand that this is not how he plays for most people. You are going to have a lot of really fast base runners in this event, though. So I would say having that arm is not worthless here. Santana is probably your best all-around catcher that you're going to see a lot of in this event if you've got access to him. I would honestly probably run Santana for 90% of people. Adley and Posada, not bad as well. You're going to see them kicking around. If you're looking for a more budget option, Yasmani or Kybert, if you haven't done those Tops Now moments from a while back, I'd say go pick them up. They're both pretty solid. Though Yasmani is probably one of the few players in the game that can hit a ball to right or left center in Polo Grounds and not get an inside of the park home run on it. But, you know, is what it is there. First base is actually kind of light. I know not a lot of people have this Eddie Murray card, so if you don't have access to that, what you can do is you can play Santana, either the headliner from a while back or his live series at first base. Both are pretty solid options. You can also, not Adley, You can also run Posada at first base. Like, a lot of catchers can play first base as a secondary. So just look at your favorite catcher. Look at your second favorite catcher. One of them can probably play first base if you don't have access to this Eddie Murray. Second base, you got access. If you watched my review a couple weeks ago and you got yourself Tiny Boy Brian, congratulations. Have fun power leveling your Tiny Boy Brian to your heart's content. I would actually probably duck most of these. If you don't have Tiny Boy Brian, I would probably run a guy like J-Ram or Eduardo Escobar at a secondary position, or Wander Franco instead of Alomar. Other than, like, he's not a good person, but he's also not really great for this event. Like, you want guys with a little bit more pop to get that ball into the gap for the inside the Parkers at Polo. Third base, got him, you got him. If you got him, you gotta use him. Like, it's kind of hard to not use him in this. This event is basically the, hey, do you have Chipper? Congratulations, you're gonna have some fun event. If you don't, Escobar and J-Ram, both solid options. Just, you gotta pay attention to J-Ram's inside edge. He does play down fairly often, so just, you know, keep an eye on him, but don't willy-nilly throw him in a lineup and find out he can't hit lefties today. Something like that. Escobar, really good versus righties. You just be careful, because you kind of get housed if your opponent actually runs like Danny Duffy or something. Like, even in Polo, he's not that great. Plus, he doesn't have that speed to get around the bases. You either want to hit home runs like Chipper, or you want to be able to get around the bases like a Nico Goodrum or a Wander Franco. Or even better, a Poisson. Robert Poisson is kind of a sleeper in this event just because of that speed. Like, his power is not great, but if he gets one in the gap, he's probably got the easiest inside the park home run in this event. That said, Wander and Mauricio are probably my two picks for shortstop. Nico Goodrum can play literally anywhere to fill any void that you don't have another player at that isn't catcher. So if you don't have Wander and Poisson, put Nico here. If you don't have Tiny Boy Brian, put Nico there. If you don't have Chipper, put Nico at third. Like, even at secondary positions, he keeps that diamond fielding. So, yeah, I mean, he's done really well for me this year, especially earlier in the year. It's nice to have these utility players too, because then you can shuffle around your lineup, like if a game goes to extras. Left field is non-existent outside of Robbie Grossman. So, I would honestly say run a guy to secondary position over Robbie. Your outfield, because we're at Polo Grounds for this event, you are going to want him to be very, very fast at all three positions, but especially center field. Like Mickey, much as I love Mickey, not center field. Like, you put him in right or left here, that's fine. Victorino, not center field. I don't care how much you like him, not in this event. I mean, you can run him out there if you have to. Just know you're going to give up some inside the park home runs. And if you're okay with that, then you're okay with that. If you got to do like the inning program and you still need the Victorino for TA, like, hey, I get it. Honestly, I'm going to be running the prospect version of Jasson Dominguez in center field. Pretty much exclusively starting in center field. Yeah, Catel's too slow as well. Like, it's kind of difficult in this event to run anyone that isn't Jasson or Billy Hamilton. If you have access to that milestone card, is also very good here. Note to future Stein, put up a picture of the Billy Hamilton, or at least like a link to him in the description. For right field, Santander is good. He's a good all-around player. 60 speed isn't great in right field, but at least you're not playing him in center. His hitting all around is solid. I would honestly probably run... I'd probably put Cattell out there in right field before I run Santander, just so that when your opponent runs someone like Duffy, you can really take advantage of it. But I'd say between Cattell, Santander, Victorino, and Grossman, it's really personal preference in left and right field. I would say Mickey and Jasson are mandatory if you have access to them. And then for your bench, as always, you want to keep at least one guy who can play catcher, just so you can pitch run in an emergency if you have to, and still be able to play out the next inning if you need to. You want some mix of guys who are really good against righties, like Wander's better against righties, so he's almost platoon. Mauricio, better versus righties. Eddie Murray is another good option for righty killing. He really doesn't hit lefties at all, though. Ketel Marte's 42 card is a good bench bat option in this situation, as is Nico Goodrum because of that 118 contact versus left. Cabrera is a solid all-around pick, too. I don't hit well with him. That's why I don't have him in my lineup here, but you could do a lot worse than him. Overall, I'd say this is a weird event. If the reward wasn't a card that looks so good all around, I would say that it's not really worth playing through this minigames at Polo Grounds. But like I said, this card looks kind of like a switch-hitting Byron Buxton once you start getting him into his parallels. So, you know, I think it's probably worth suffering. And if nothing else, like, get a shot at Felix Familia, Wander's 91, Hampton, Billy Hamilton, Brushman. Like, you get shots at some other good cards along the way, too. Gavin, J-Rod, like, you could do a lot worse than having shots at all this. Plus, it's free ball and packs. It's a good amount of stubs. And honestly, it's something a little bit different. And if you're new to the show, welcome to Polo Grounds. Enjoy your stay. God help your pitchers' ERAs. Thanks for watching, though, guys.